Have you ever felt an unseen presence watching you in the dead of night? What if I told you that sometimes the things we fear most are not figments of our imagination, but real, horrifying entities waiting to be discovered? Hello and welcome back to Horror's YouTube channel. I hope you're doing well. If you love true scary stories, horror tales, ghostly encounters, and suspenseful mysteries, you've come to the right place. Subscribe to our channel and you won't be disappointed. We've got chills and thrills waiting for you. This is a true story, or at least based on true experiences, recounted by those who lived through it. It takes place in the small, isolated town of Blackwood, where an abandoned manor stood on the outskirts, cloaked in centuries-old mysteries and tales of terror. It was the summer of 1998 when three friends, Mark, Lisa, and Jake, decided to explore the infamous Blackwood Manor. The manor had been abandoned for decades, and local legends spoke of unexplainable horrors and ghostly apparitions that drove its previous inhabitants insane. The friends, eager for adventure and disbelieving of the supernatural, planned a night of exploration. They armed themselves with flashlights, cameras, and bravado, ready to debunk the myths surrounding the manor. As they approached the manor, the air grew colder. An unnatural stillness hung around the property, and the once grand entrance stood decayed, with vines creeping up its stone walls. Despite the eerie atmosphere, the trio pressed on, forcing the old, creaking door open. Inside, the manor was dark and filled with the musty scent of neglect. Cobwebs draped from the ceilings and the wooden floorboards groaned under their weight. Mark led the way, flashlight beam cutting through the darkness, revealing remnants of a bygone era, old furniture, dusty portraits, and forgotten trinkets. "Let's head to the basement first," Mark suggested, his voice a whisper in the oppressive silence. Lisa and Jake agreed, though they felt a growing unease. The basement was rumored to be the epicenter of the manor's hauntings. As they descended the narrow staircase, the temperature dropped further, and a sense of dread washed over them. The basement was cluttered with old tools and broken furniture. The air was thick with the smell of damp and decay. Mark's flashlight flickered, casting unsettling shadows on the walls. Suddenly, Lisa gasped. "Did you hear that?" she whispered, eyes wide with fear. The others listened intently. A faint, almost imperceptible sound echoed through the basement, like a distant whisper or a soft sobbing. Jake shook his head, trying to brush it off. "It's just the wind," he said, though his voice trembled. They pressed on, exploring the basement further. In the far corner, they found an old, rusty chest. Mark, driven by curiosity, forced it open. Inside, they discovered ancient books, strange artifacts, and an old, leather-bound diary. Mark picked up the diary and began to read aloud. July 14th, 1857. "The manor is cursed. We should have never moved here. Strange noises haunt us every night, and shadows move in the darkness. We are not alone." As Mark read, the air grew heavier, and an overwhelming sense of malevolence filled the room. The whispers grew louder, now unmistakable and chilling. The friends looked around in terror, realizing they had awakened something ancient and evil. "Let's get out of here," Lisa urged, her voice barely above a whisper. But as they turned to leave, the basement door slammed shut with a deafening bang. Panic set in as they realized they were trapped. Mark pounded on the door, but it wouldn't budge. The whispers turned into guttural growls, and the temperature plummeted even further. Suddenly, Jake screamed. A shadowy figure emerged from the darkness, its form barely human, with hollow eyes and a gaping mouth. It moved towards them with unnatural speed, its growls filling their minds with terror. The friends huddled together, praying for the nightmare to end. But the entity showed no mercy. It lashed out at them, its icy touch freezing their skin and sapping their strength. Desperation took hold as they fought to escape its grasp. In a final, desperate act, Mark grabbed one of the ancient artifacts from the chest, a small, intricately carved amulet. As he held it up, the entity recoiled, its form flickering. Seizing the moment, Mark chanted the words inscribed on the amulet, hoping to banish the evil spirit. A blinding light filled the basement, and the entity let out an ear-piercing scream before vanishing into the darkness. The oppressive atmosphere lifted, and the basement door creaked open. Shaken and exhausted, the friends fled the manor, vowing never to return. They later discovered that the amulet was a protective talisman, used by the manor's original inhabitants to ward off evil spirits. The experience left them scarred, and they never spoke of it again. But the legend of Blackwood Manor grew, and those who ventured there afterward reported similar encounters with the malevolent entity. Years later, Mark, Lisa, and Jake still bore the emotional scars of that fateful night. The experience had changed them forever, instilling a deep-seated fear of the unknown. They had come face to face with a darkness beyond comprehension, a true horror that lurked in the shadows, waiting for its next victims. Remember, this is a true story, or at least based on true experiences. Blackwood Manor still stands today, a silent testament to the horrors within. And sometimes the things we fear most are not figments of our imagination, but real, horrifying entities waiting to be discovered. If you enjoyed this story, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more real-life experiences. Thank you for watching.